When I saw the Nike Air Jordan 3 Cool Grey coming down the line, I was extremely excited. This is a great looking shoe. I absolutely love the shoe, but there's more than that going on in the shoe for me. There's a massive call out to last year in 2020 and two particular shoes from last year that crashed together and hybrid to make this one shoe. I don't know if you know me well enough to guess which two shoes in my mind from 2020 can be pushed together to hybrid to make this guy. Feel free to let us know in the comments down below. Before I actually get to that in today's video, we'll also get to the drop date. Man alive, I don't know if there's been a shoe in recent times that this drop date has jumped around as much as these guys. And finally, maybe they've settled on that actual drop date, and we'll get into that today as well. And look at all the hits on these guys, including the orange ones, which for me were like, at first I was like, yay, and then I was like, and I was like, oh. So the orange hits on the shoe as well, which are a couple of surprising ones that maybe you haven't seen already. So with all that being said, let's get into that and take a look at the upcoming release of the Nike Air Jordan 3 Cool Grey. This is the Tokyo Bar 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Bar 23 Sneaker Channelです。毎日アップするので毎日見てください。And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today, in the spotlight is an Air Jordan 3, and I do love me an Air Jordan 3s. I probably remember last year when I did a live unboxing of the red cements, and as soon as I looked at them, I looked at the camera and said, I'm never wearing these shoes because they're just so clean, such a beautiful shoe. So I love the Air Jordan 3s, and when they come down, you know, I usually do videos about them, sometimes very complimentary, other times not so, and today it's like a 99% complimentary video. There's one little thing on there that I'm just sort of holding back on, whether I want to pull the trigger and get these things myself, but mostly it's a great looking shoe and something that I totally recommend people take a serious look at and think about getting a hold of, because these guys are very nice and very clean. So and we'll go through all the different parts on it, because there are some really interesting choices in there, some material choices, some color choices that kind of matter, and you have to know about them before you make a decision about whether you're going to get these guys or not. So we'll get to that, but first, answering the question is, what two shoes from last year crashed together to make this shoe for me? Now, last year was the year of the Jordan 4s, the 30th anniversary of the Jordan 4s, and there were very few Jordan 4s last year that I liked. I was kind of surprised in their 30th anniversary year that so few very nice shoes came out, and then here we are this year with, you know, it wasn't last year, it was the year before. I'm getting it mixed up because we're already in 2021, thinking about 2020 being last year's 2019, but you get the point. But from the 30th anniversary year of those Air Jordan 4s, there were the Bread 4s, a beautiful shoe, but the only other shoe other than the Bread 4s that I liked was the Cool Grey, which hopefully is here behind me here. And today this shoe called the Cool Grey, but then you've also got, like I said, those red cement 3s, and if you take that red cement 3 and crash it together with the Cool Greys, and then you get this Air Jordan 3 Cool Grey. So for me, that's kind of like, as soon as I saw the name Cool Grey, I thought it was beautiful Jordan 4s from their 30th anniversary year, and then here we are, but they've got some hits of orange on there, which really surprised me, and that confusing due date. Now the drop should come on February the 20th. That's what they're talking about, the drop being, but it has been all over the place, projected here, there, and everywhere. Now that's where they are right now. I'm shooting this video in late January, and it'll probably go up in early February, but even then it might have changed by the time that this gets up onto YouTube, or by the time you're watching this. So if it isn't February the 20th, man alive, it wouldn't surprise me, but fingers crossed they've finally settled on a drop date for these guys, and that's what it looks like it's going to be. So so with all that being said, let's get into the shoe and have a look at it. Now, I did say there was one thing that's kind of pulling me back, and that one thing that's pulling me back is actually one of the main selling points, because we're talking premium materials on these guys, not just simple straight up leathers. It's supposedly premium, a little bit of extra attention given to those materials. But if we zoom in on the sort of top half of the shoe, you can see that luxurious kind of feel to the leathers, but I don't think that's a good move for the Jordan 3s. I think the Jordan 3s having tumbled leather up high on them is a big yes. And then when you get down a little bit to the lower half of the upper, that panel on the side in another sort of smoother kind of leathers, I think that contrast between those two is actually really important. So going with a smoother leather on the top half of these guys, I'm not so sure about it. I'd have to get them in hand to really know for sure if I wanted to pull the trigger on these guys or not. So that's one of my kind of questions. Another one comes about the orange on the shoes. Now, since we're up high and looking at the lacing system, you can see at the top you've got that large sort of eyelet, and then down at the bottom you've got those multiple smaller eyelets in orange, and I really liked that. I thought that was really cool. I thought they brought out a little bit of colour to an otherwise very dull shoe, except for, of course, and we'll be able to see it very easily nearby, that embroidered Jumpman at the top of the light grey tongue. But then back to those orange points that I'm talking about on the lacing system. So I was kind of like, yeah, that's okay. I like that. It's a bit of colour. It's a surprise, to see that here, especially because the Cool Grey 4s were very much a white, black, and very grey shoe. But then throwing in a bit of colour on these guys, I was kind of like, yeah, let's do that. But then the red Jumpman on the heel, yeah, it's okay, I don't mind. It's embossed, it's cool, black heel, red Jumpman coming off. But then you drop down from that and get to an orange Air, and I was just like, why? Why do you need to do that? The red and the orange together do not look good together. If the Jumpman had been orange and the Air orange, then maybe, but that would have been too much orange. What they really should have gone with was red Jumpman, red Air on the back, or Nike swoosh Air on the back would have been a whole heap better as well. But the mix-up of red and orange together like that is just sort of like a little bit jarring to me, so I'm like, not really feeling that. But what I am feeling is on the Air unit. If we go kind of to the heel section on the midsole, you can see the Air unit in there, and hopefully I'll be able to find a picture that does enough justice to it so you can see in there a little bit of orange. So if it had just been the eyelets and the Air units with the orange hits in them, I would have been a very big yes. But that additional Air on the back in orange, I think, is a little bit too much, a little bit out of place, if you know what I'm saying. Now, staying with that Air unit on the side, it's not too hard to go to the mid sort of sole area, because the front and the back of the shoes have this very matte finished grey midsole unit on there, which is kind of unusual, kind of unique to these shoes, and I really, really like it. Now, this is a play on 2007's colorway, very similar colorway from 13 years ago, and on those as well, I'm not sure if they did have the matte grey finish or not, but they've got it on here, and it's kind of easy. It would have been easier to go with black, very standard sort of design for Air Jordan 3s, but instead they've gone with a deeper grey finish and that matte feel, which is very cool. I think it finishes off the light grey up high really nicely, and then bridging between the two of those, you've got the elephant print, which has the lighter hits and the darker hits on it, so it really makes a nice bridge between the upper materials and then the midfoot, midsole sections, which are in that sort of darker grey matte finish. And then finally, when we flip these guys upside down, have a look at the outsole. Very simple outsole, but it's leaning on that dark kind of matte grey finish, which is brought around from the midsole section and the sort of mudguard section onto the outsole of these guys. So that's all in all a look at the shoe, giving you all the different angles. I had to go to two different places. I went to Sneaker News and Sneaker Bar Detroit to get the pictures. So usually I'm only going for one place, but it was harder to get, especially the outsole. So they might not be pictures that have been circulating as widely as the other pictures of the shoe. But back out looking at the whole shoe, like I said, I think it's a great looking shoe, and it's just a couple of tiny little details, whether they could have gone with different leathers up high, and did they really need to go with that orange Air on the back, or could they have gone with something else? But these are small details in a beautiful shoe, especially if you're like me and you love your Air Jordan 3s. I didn't, it was having this channel that got me to look at Jordan 3s more closely and think about them more, and it really brought them up. They're probably the shoe that's had a biggest move in ranking as far as I'm concerned. I didn't used to pay that much attention to them, but now it's one of my all-time favorite shoes. I just love the Jordan 3 silhouette, and a colorway like this is a big yes for me. So fingers crossed it'll do well, and get them in hand and think, you know what, actually worth pulling the trigger on those guys, because they're a great looking shoe. Okay, with that being said, it's time for me to sign off and just finish up, keeping the daily content going. Managed to produce the videos every single day for you guys out there, something like 785, 790 consecutive days on YouTube, and we're still trucking on. So fingers crossed we'll keep on doing that. But for now, it's time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out the content, and I'll see what I say at the end of every single video, which is I do this every single day. And that means you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.